So let's dive in, shall we? So yesterday I did a post and I wanted to call forth the women who are, experiencing these times in their coaching, consulting, healing business where they book some clients sometimes and no clients a lot of the time. So they're not just starting out, and that's who I'm talking to here. If you're here in this community, you're not just starting your business. You've actually already been selling high-end packages for a while. However, something is inconsistent about it. Like you can't do it consistently and predictably, and you're not sure why. And it actually is a place where you're left looking like you are feeling like it's going to happen anytime now because you've done it before and you do it sometimes, and some months it happens and some months it doesn't happen. And for that, you keep thinking that it's just going to happen someday. And this concept of it's just going to happen someday is a way that we live in denial about the truth, and it keeps us separate from claiming what is ours to claim right now. So many of us who have these attachment wounds from childhood, we have a lot of this going on. We live in a lot of avoidance and denial of the truth because the truth is too painful. And so I want to just share with you a little bit about how that happened early in life. So as a child, you would have naturally had emotional needs, and many of us had parents that couldn't meet our emotional needs. And it's not because they didn't want to, it's not because they purposely made it so that they couldn't meet our needs, but they just didn't have the capacity, right? Because it actually requires capacity to meet others' needs, even in your life right now, right? Your personal relationships. It requires you to develop the capacity to be able and available for someone else and what they need as it relates to your relationship. And so this is the opposite of narcissism, right? Narcissism, and many of us had narcissist parents, everything revolved around them. Or if you're in a relationship or you've been in a relationship with a narcissist partner, everything revolves around them. And so those of us who are like empaths and we were growing up with these kind of archetypes in our parents, we develop this behavior of orienting toward our parents to get our needs met. And so our needs were not met, and therefore we had this immense basic but primal need to feel loved and feel secure. And so for that, we learned how to get love and get security by performing, by being what our parents wanted us to be, which was usually less than what we were, or less than the authentic being that we are, or less than the fully emotionally expressed child that we were. We learned to suppress and push down and shame ourselves for our emotions, for our needs, for our desires, for anything that was coming up. We learned to kind of push it down, suppress it, and deny it. And so we developed this relationship with denial and avoidance that way. We actually learn to survive that way. So we deny what is too painful. And in a lot of ways, because our parents, say our mother specifically, couldn't meet our emotional needs, we had so much pain around that. Like there was actual pain in our body, and we couldn't hold that pain at that 4-year-old or 5-year-old or 7-year-old level age. And so we deny the pain. We suppress the pain, we avoid the pain, and we turn away from that pain. And even as an adult, we never look back on that pain. And we don't even know that it's still running there. We don't even know that it's still running there. The only way that we'll know if it's still running there is if we are starting to see patterns and behaviors and ways in which our life is not giving us what we desire, right? We're not manifesting, we're not experiencing the love and relationships and money and freedom that we want. And it causes us, those of us on a spiritual path, right? On a personal development path, It causes us to look within and go like, why is that? Because I know that I'm powerful and I know that I have the capacity to do this. So why am I experiencing sometimes where I book clients and other times where I don't? Like, why is that happening? And we actually get inquisitive and we ask and we reflect. And this is when the wounds can come to light and we can turn and alchemize the pain into power. And that's what we stand for in this community, right? It's not about just constantly talking about the trauma and perpetuating the trauma that we lived. That doesn't really serve us now. But it does serve us not to spiritually bypass or emotionally bypass the pain, right? Because it's not sustainable. The growth is not sustainable from that. We can affirm all we want. We can use the law of attraction all we want. We can pretend things are love and light today all we want. But if that pain is still running in our nervous system, it doesn't matter. It's not sustainable to live in the sort of fake love and light and, everything is awesome, because in our nervous system, it's still calibrating to, I don't feel safe. I don't feel met. I don't feel connected to my needs, and my needs are not being met. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. We keep self-sabotaging to actually heal this pain, interestingly enough. We keep manifesting the same experiences so that we can heal. Essentially what it comes down to is this feeling of abandonment and separation from our creator. But when we're a child, we really feel this with our parent, with our mother. So we're constantly trying to heal that pain. And the good news is if this resonates, and if this is something that you struggle with right now, then the pain is coming up to be illuminated and healed. Okay? So what I want to really focus in on as it relates to clients is how you might have learned to orient towards someone else early in life, which is what happened with your mother and father. Like I mentioned earlier, you start to orient, and what I mean by that is you get your needs met by meeting the needs of others. You feel good about yourself by meeting the needs of others. You feel loved and accepted by others' validation of your beauty, of your performance, of something usually external. And this is a very deep-seated neurological pattern that's running in your nervous system and your brain and your mind. And orienting toward others is the people-pleasing tendency. When this is running 100%, we're not in touch with our authentic voice. We're not able to speak our authentic voice freely. We're not able to let ourselves be seen. We're not able to open ourselves to the risk of being criticized, of being rejected, of someone leaving us, because the pain of that feels far too great. So we literally do everything we can to avoid this. So clearing codependence, denial, and avoidance is all about starting to become located in yourself and orienting toward yourself first. This is the journey. This is the journey that we must take, is the journey to start to understand our own needs and our own feelings and honor them ourselves. Because we realize that no one else will honor them and no one else will meet them, and clients actually won't feel attracted to us until we are owning our own power, our own truth, our own needs, our own desires, our own requirements, our own authority. It's an energy thing. It's a frequency thing. This is what high vibration means. Okay? High vibration is not just love and lighting everything and meditating and going to another cosmos sometimes. Like, that's all great, all good. I'm doing that too. But embodiment is the piece here, right? If wounds are still running and you're still orienting out and you want to please everyone else and you need their validation and them to tell you that you're worthy, then the vibration is of separation, is of fear, right? And we just want to clear this now. Clear, cancel, clear, delete. We are deleting and decoding these codes that have been installed in us, especially as divine feminine leaders. We have had this programming running for many millennia. So knowing your needs, stating your impact when you are impacted by someone, when there is a rupture with them. And this begins in your personal life. We're talking about business here and clients and booking clients more consistently, but this is the stuff that matters, right? This is when it all changes, not strategy and not mindset. It's this stuff, especially for female leaders. And so it starts in your personal life, in your relationships. You first start orienting toward yourself and understanding your needs, stating your needs, and then being able to state impact or rupture when you feel triggered or when you feel hurt by someone, and being able to navigate those conversations in relationship where you claim what your needs are without abandoning yourself for the other person's needs. Okay? Huge. So if you feel like you're overly attached or avoidant to your relationship with money and business, which is so many women entrepreneurs, and me included, for a long time, I was clinging to it and I was turning away from it. So what I mean by that is, like, you know that you need it. You're like, holy shit, bank account dwindling, need more money. Where am I going to get more money? Let me try to get more money, right? Like you're thinking about money a lot. It takes a lot of energy for you. And at the same time, you also have an avoidant relationship with money where you're not looking at the numbers. You're not looking at like what needs to be done today, you know? Like in a lot of ways, you avoid what needs to be done. You know, you avoid making offers, you avoid reaching out to people, you avoid, claiming your authority on a sales call because you're scared of being rejected. And so you're in this anxious, avoidant relationship with your business, okay? And this is how it's anxious, avoidant in relationship. If it's showing up in your relationship, if you feel like you have codependent tendencies, and codependency is really just orienting toward someone else and feeling your love for yourself comes only from another person or something outside of you. So clearing that is all about claiming yourself, is being located in yourself, is coming back to yourself. Okay, so this is how you become profoundly conscious of the denial program that's running in your nervous system and your money story. If you have an anxious, avoidant relationship with money, then you are denying what's true. You're denying what's true, and denying what's true is avoidance, right? We've all known men who are avoidant. We talk a lot about emotional unavailable men, right? But like it's running in our system as well. We're just being mirrored that if it's showing up in our life, if it has shown up in our life. And so then when you look at the clients and you have some months where you make 10K and some months where you make 20K and some months where you make 0K, this is what's happening. There's a codependency happening. There's avoidance. There's emotional unavailability. There's not intimacy with money. And that comes from just your connection with source and yourself. And that's when money flows, prosperity flows. It's just an energy. It's because you are located in your own authority. And when you give value, money, you get money back. That's just how it works. So, and then what I mentioned, diving into the childhood imprint of the mother wound and people pleasing is what I talked about before, and I'll just recap there. And then we're going to close up this Facebook Live, and the rest of the details for this Facebook Live that I put this morning, we're actually going to cover that in part 2 on Thursday, which is why does your nervous system and your body have more to do with your money than your mind or strategy does. And the 3-step embodied priestess ascension activation that will catapult your prosperity vortex. I'm going to give that to you on Thursday's Facebook Live at the same time. So just 1 and 2 we're covering today. And number 2 is diving into the childhood imprint of the mother wound. And this is exactly what I just spoke about already, which is this attachment wounds that happen. It doesn't mean we need to vilify our mothers or, say they did a really bad job, but they did the best they could with what they knew. But if they were raised by emotionally unavailable parents, and like who the hell is emotionally available truly in this world? Like a very small percentage. We're all actually waking up to this now, and hopefully more adults will become more emotionally available and intimate to themselves through this work that we're sharing. and through lots of other people who are doing this work on the planet, and therefore raise children who are emotionally available to themselves, right? And that's how it will begin. So we don't need to shame our parents, and we don't need to, we can feel however we feel about it, but it's not about that. It's really just about acknowledging the truth that if we weren't met emotionally, if our parents, for example, for me, a lot of what I actually got it just the other day, was when I expressed a trigger or I was upset with my mom for saying something, she would always deny me that feeling. So she would reflect back to me and say, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. I don't know why you feel that way. I don't know why you have to make a big deal out of nothing, Tara. It's really not that big of a deal. So essentially all of that is denial. And what that signifies is her own avoidance to her own emotion. She has no capacity to deal with my emotional state. So I learned early on to deny my own emotional state. I became unavailable to my own emotions, and that affected me greatly until I began to do the inner work of healing the mother wound, which is this attachment wound. And then understanding how so much of what I thought my value was for the world was based on people pleasing, and how I showed up for other people and how they saw me and what they thought of me, and whether they loved me or they criticized me. That was what my value was based on. And until I healed that, I wasn't able to claim my voice, my truth, my power, my prosperity, and hold it. This is ultimately what we're talking about here, is the ability to hold more wealth. And without clearing these wounds, we won't be able to hold more wealth, because it will feel unsafe for us to hold more wealth. We'll think about what people think of us, and all of this junk that's there. And it's all like shame programming that we've been given in this lifetime. So it is so important that we do the deep work. And that's when clients will come consistently and predictably, because we're actually able to hold the vibration of holding more prosperity and holding more wealth. It's clean within us. We've excavated the negative vibration of diverting and pushing away that which is we're denying our own voice, our own heart, our own mission, our own legacy, and we start to own it. We start to let ourselves be seen, and we start to share our voice and our truth with the world, and that's really the key of the prosperity loop. All right, so thank you so much for being here. If you're listening to the replay, put replay in the comments. I'm gonna check back later, and I'd love to know what hit you the most today, and if there's any action you're gonna take from today's Facebook Live, and then we'll see you Thursday at 11:11 a.m.